Okay, so I think the weather's finally going to break for us, but I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of these poor fields that I just put through absolute hell here the last week and a half. I finished up, what was that, on Sunday, getting this hay baled. The hay that I baled is this here right behind me, as you saw in the video that I posted yesterday. I had a lot of questions, I had a lot of criticisms, and a lot of I don't cares are given to people that criticize me, because, you know, I honestly believe that criticizing me, they just don't, the people that are criticizing me, they just don't know what the hell they're doing, or they don't understand what I'm doing. If you're new to the channel, or if you're just plain stupid and don't understand what I'm doing, I make mulch hay for the mushroom industry. I can bale damp hay. It's okay. They will dock me down to that 20% mark. Like, you know, it's normal. It's just the way of doing business. If I make 10% hay, they don't pay me to 20%. They just don't pay me for that 10% of moisture. So my target goal is 20% hay. Like this morning, I actually lost money this morning. I took a load of hay down, and the highest moisture they could get was 16%. The highest. They paid a 20, so I lost at least 4%. Yesterday, they docked me 3%. So I gained, you know, I made it. That's my perfect goal. It's just like 15.5 on your corn, you know, the moisture in your corn. That's where it's got to be. So anyways, this hay was baled, and it was damp. It was in that 30% range, okay? It is actually doing quite well for being baled now a few days. It does have a funky smell to it, but not bad. It's not raging hot like I thought it would be, because it was baled pretty damp. 30% is pretty wet. But it went through the baler just fine. I know there were some comments saying that it didn't look wet to them. Well, it really didn't, because the baler handles it so well. I did have a couple of broken bales, but they got rebaled. One of them got thrown in a pile because it just was not worth rebaling it due to the rain that was falling again. Another question was, how much do these things weigh coming off the back of the baler? Well, that's a good question. The answer to that is, the lightest one I saw was 1,700, I think it was like 1,780. The heaviest one I saw was 2,100 pounds. Now, in order to get 2,100 pounds of hay into a bale at 30%, it's not really that hard, but you do need the baling twine to do it. I use Krone baling twine. Now, Crown, they make different grades of twine. This is a 650-pound knot strength twine. That 650-pound knot strength twine I should consistently be able to put at the 10%, 15 or 20% hay. I should be able to put somewhere around 1,600 to 1,800 pounds of hay, dry hay, in each one of these bales. My baler is designed to take the 700-pound knot strength twine, the extreme twine. I'm not going to do it. I don't need that much. As it is, I'm taking 33 bales down there, and I'm 24 tons anyway, so it doesn't matter. Looking at this field, you can see, and later in this video, you're going to see my father putting down nitrogen already. This has had nitrogen down and an inch of rain on top of that nitrogen. So this week, when we get that 80, 90 degree days and those 50 degree nights, this shit's going to be greener than green. So that's just, hopefully I answered a few questions. The fuel consumption on the 8530, yeah, I'm not shocked or upset about it, because like a lot of you smart commenters said, that it's offset, fuel consumption is offset by comfort and speed, efficiency in the baling. You know, so, yeah, this is one of my new favorite tractors. Uh-oh, look what I got. Yeah, you'll see that too. Climb up in the cab here. Trip over my drone. Oops. Okay. So, yeah. Offset by efficiency and comfort. That active seat is just second to none. Best damn seat I ever sat in. Nobody's had the radio on here. But yeah, so I'm okay with 15 gallons an hour, 18 gallons an hour. on a hill, as long as when I'm going downhill, it's 6 or 7. I'm pretty sure the average is going to be pretty decent. So, anyway, enjoy the rest of this video. Okay, so the rest of this video is going to be drone footage. Haven't flown a drone now in probably 3 months. Last time I flew the drone was, there was snow on the ground. And I never explained actually what happened to the drone, but I guess I can now. All right, so the drone was, I was flying the drone. We had an incident with a logger where he had come up onto our property and taken a couple of logs, and had it out with him a little bit, and he did pay up, so life is all good again. Doesn't replace the trees, but it definitely, makes him think twice about where he is in the woods. But I was checking up on him. Apparently, the township owns land on the other side of this place, and where he was logging on the other side of us. And I was just checking up on him. So anyways, in the process of checking up on him, I flew the drone back to the farm, and I landed it. And when I landed it automatically. I didn't do it manually because I was in the building. And the drone was outside, obviously. So what happened was it flipped over. It just flipped over on its back, and that was that. I thought it was fine. The battery was dead. So I changed out the battery, rebooted it, and took off with, took off to do some more surveillance work with my drone. When I powered it up, it was fine. It was sat there doing its thing. And then when I took off from the ground, it took off. And I mean, it took off. This thing went about 100 miles an hour, if not faster, almost hitting the grain bin. I was trying to get it under control. It just was not going to happen. It was not going to be in control. It was just going to be a wreck. The wreck of the old 97, as you would say. At least I would say. So by the time I got the home button pushed, this drone had already traveled, quarter mile. And I mean, we're talking to seconds. 2 seconds. It had traveled a quarter mile. It was pretty close to smacking into my neighbor's horse barn, and we didn't want that to happen. So when I hit that home button, it actually stopped, turned around, and came back at the same speed, Mach 1. So when it hit the fence, it was a board fence on the neighbor's property. It was obliterated. I didn't take any photos of it or video because I was sick. I had just paid over $2,000 for this whole thing, and it's, totally destroyed. So I ordered the parts to repair it, rebuild it, and I did. I got it rebuilt. But me and Timothy rebuilt it, actually, because he's got more time than I do. And anyways, he couldn't get it to boot up. It wouldn't recognize that there was even power to it. So I decided that I would buy a new drone. And what you're seeing now is a new drone flying around in the air, which is great, because we all like to see these views, and it's all good, It's like what we want to see. So, well, everybody wants to see aerial views. This is a 7810 pulling the Hardy Commander Plus, 750 gallons spray. He is actually putting down too much nitrogen, but such is life. So now I've clicked over to something different. I think we're loading hay here. But anyway, with the new drone, I learned that my old drone which it wasn't very old, it was only a few months old. My old drone, I do believe, was a refurbished drone that they put in a box and sent to me as a new drone. And I'm a little upset about it because when I did purchase the first drone, it was it was a lot of money. And it was already hooked up. Everything was bound. It was calibrated. I had no problems whatsoever. This one was not bound to the controller. It was not calibrated. It had, everything that you had to do to it had to be done. I mean, it was definitely a virgin, as I should say. So what do you do? You know? So anyways, the new drone flies farther. It flies about the same speed, but it flies farther and seems to be more controllable and just more manageable. When it's nicer. It's the same exact thing. That's what's really weird about it, but I find it to be easier to maneuver and control and work around with. So now you're seeing cows on a farm that I farm, and they're as curious as, I am. I bring the drone down, and they're looking at me like, grr. You can see my spray pattern where I put fertilizer down, and you can see this strip out through the middle. That's actually a private airstrip. Not really supposed to be flying a drone here, but what the hell. I know they're not coming in there at that time of day. Just beautiful area. If you look at the aerial views that I'm showing you here, this is New Jersey. And actually, if you look straight ahead, that's actually Pennsylvania. And now I'm going to fly back. But anyways, I guess that's enough of me yammering on. And I'm going to sign off with that. I mean, well, you know what? I do actually have some better footage than that. So, yeah, I guess I'll just keep yammering on. All right, so here's the thing. I have not been making hay. I made just the home farm. We've got fertilizer down. We have had 1.5 inches of rain since last week. It is now Thursday. So the last rain we had was on Sunday, and it was 0.7 of an inch again. So we've had a lot of rain. As you could see, those cows were standing in water. I'm really chomping at the bit to get some fertilizer on, or not fertilizer, what am I talking about? To get on the ground with the mowers and mow some hay. I want to get it down. I mean, I got over 3,500 acres of hay to make. That's a lot of god-darn hay. And that's only the first time. That's just the first time. And you see that where my dad is loading this hay up, how wet it is, because it's not normally a swamp like that. And I'm going to fly over here. You see the water to the left, and then you'll see him playing around in the mud puddle. That is where the hay is stacked. I'm sure some people are like, why are you stacking hay in water? Well, at the beginning of this video, you will understand why. But anyway, with that being said, the baler's ready to go. I'm going to pick up 2 pallets of twine this morning. I have had to pay some very hefty bills, as a lot of people are like, wow, how do you afford to pay for these fancy tractors and fancy equipment? Well, you work really hard. And, sometimes you wonder if you're going to be able to make the payment. I don't like being a slave to my machinery, and I'm not really a slave to my machinery. But you still have to make the payments no matter who you are. Whether you're paying taxes on property or whether you're buying equipment and making those payments. And, it is what it is. Fertilizer costs this year are astronomical. I've spent more money in fertilizer this year than I ever have before in my life. And I just really, you just got to work. And this is last year's hay, so we're actually ahead of the schedule, ahead of the curve. I won't be out of old hay until the middle of July, or somewhere around the first week of July. And that'll be acceptable for new hay to be delivered into the mushroom barns that I deliver to. I think things will be pretty good as far as that transition. Now, last year this time, I was already hauling new hay in, and they weren't happy about it, but they were stacking it, and it was just there. So that new hay was, it's just what it is. But anyways, I guess that's the end of this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. Please comment, rate, and subscribe if you haven't already. The silver play button is something that I would really love to have, and it's just what I would like to have, and I need your help to get that far. Not begging, just asking. That's all. Thanks again.